So a lot of people have been asking me, how do you get started with game development? Because we take a look at all of these new Unity features and talk about game design, level design, all that kind of stuff. So it's a very heat topic. And so I decided to help you guys out in this video. I'm gonna talk about my experiences, views, thoughts, opinions, all that kind of stuff, and also share some facts with you that come from other professionals in this industry. And obviously, after watching this video, if you still have any questions or if you have doubts, if you need help, let us know in the comments because we're always helpful as a community. But now, with that being said, let's get you ready for game development. Hey guys, it's Sam here. So this is actually a topic that I've tried covering before on this channel, and by before I mean actually like a year ago or 2 years ago. But since then, my views, expectations, and most importantly my experience have altered and grown a lot. And because of that, I wanted to cover this topic once again on the channel and also let you know that we'll do these types of videos more from now on, just like we used to do before, which I really miss, by the way, like these discussion videos. So if you have any discussion topics you want me to cover, let me know in the comments, and also make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss those out. So to begin with, I just want to quickly do like a little introduction of myself so that you have an idea of who I am and where I work and stuff like that, what I do at work, so you actually know who this is coming from. So right now I work at Unity as an online evangelist, which basically means that I make their own official YouTube videos, at least most of them, where we basically make videos on some features that are being released, etc. And besides that, I also run this YouTube channel called Sykoo, where I basically make game development related videos, mainly Unity videos, but also these topics where I just basically discuss with you guys, talk to you, and just like turn on the microphone and talk basically. And I have actually worked on games before, so I used to make 2D game called Lens, and then I had a few other 3D games, but honestly, I did like the Steam Greenlight thing, and one of the games was actually uploaded to Steam, but I ended up removing because it just I didn't have the time to update it. So for those of you wondering, I just want to also mention, I have graduated from high school in Sweden, and I haven't gone to college, however, because I just knew that it really wasn't what I wanted to do, and I just wanted to kind of like spend my 20s gaining some experience basically. And to be fully honest, I wasn't expecting to get the job at Unity, so now that I actually have it, I don't feel like I need to study. But even prior to getting the job at Unity, I still didn't feel like I was, I had to study, but I just kind of was interested in actually getting into college because of the title that you get from it. You know what I mean? So I didn't really feel like, oh, I need to study or else I'm not gonna get a job, because I did have YouTube, I did have the experience, and I'm also self-taught since I was 11, 12 years old, something like that. And so I didn't really feel like I needed college at the end of the day. So like I mentioned, I was 12 years old when I got started, but that's not to say you can't start when you're 30 years old. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter. Age, honestly, is just a number in this field of work. And this is a topic that a lot of people actually struggle with, especially after I tell them, I was 12 when I got started, and they're like, well, maybe it's not really for me because I'm not 12 anymore, I'm actually like 30 years old. But it's like, it doesn't really matter. If you've got the will, you've got the motivation, and you've got the dedication required for you to sit down and actually spend and invest some time into learning this topic, you can definitely do it. But so let's say you've got the dedication, you've got the inspiration, whatever fancy word you can think of. So what do you do then, right? How do you actually get started? How do you take your first step? Well, my suggestion, so this is just my opinion, this is not a fact, but what I did was I decided on what I wanted to learn and set that to be my primary focus to this subject and just try it. And what I wanted to do when I was literally like 12 to 13 years old, because 12 years old, I kind of started with Unity to learn the game engine, and then 13, I just kind of wanted to get into programming a little bit, not too much, because I was, to be fully honest, intimidated by coding because it just looked really scary, but also very cool. So I just decided, hey, maybe this is something that I can actually spend some time onto and see if I like it. And then I was also interested in making games. So that was also the primary reason to why I picked the game engine before. But so second of all, what I suggest is after you pick a topic or the subject you want to try and focus on to, pick a game engine. Like if it's Unity, if it's Unreal, if it's CryEngine, whatever out there. If you create your own game engine, it doesn't really matter. So just pick something to base your knowledge on. And actually, to help you guys out, I'm gonna leave a link to each of these game engines that I just mentioned and some more in the description box of this video under show notes, where it says show notes in the description. And if you're wondering, by the way, the reason I picked Unity when I was 12 to 13 was just because it was I think it was actually the only free game engine I could find back then. Now there are actually a few more free game engines, and Unity is still one of them and one of the most popular ones. So it was free and it was really popular. I saw that a lot of people were using it to make games, so I knew that it was definitely a potential for me to get into it and learn it. And by the way, I know that people will ask this question, so I just want to quickly disclose this. I'm not trying to promote Unity just because I work there. On my YouTube time, which I'm in right now, I'm just an independent YouTuber. I don't have a support from Unity in specific terms. I just happen to work there. And that is just under work hours, right? So as normal people. So right now, I'm just an independent YouTuber who's giving you tips and tricks on getting started with game development. So in just a bit, we're actually gonna start talking about school and stuff, which I find really interesting. But before getting in depth into this subject and diving into schools, I just want to make something super clear. So no game developer out there makes an entire project without using Google. I know this can sound funny for some people, especially if you're just getting started with this topic, but I've come to a point where I don't need to watch tutorials to make a game unless it's something super new for me, right? But I still use Google at an incredibly high rate. And it's actually normal. And this is my point. So it doesn't mean that you're bad at this. It just simply means you know what to search for. So now the interesting part is, what if you don't actually know what to look for, right? Because if you're just starting with game development, you probably don't know, what do I actually search on Google if I want to create this? Well, it depends. For example, with time, you start learning the keywords of game development. So when you start nailing those keywords, that actually means you're literally getting somewhere now. Don't expect to come to a point, however, where you don't have to Google anything. It's almost impossible, to be honest. You'll still search and you'll still ask other people. And my biggest point is, it's normal. It's not abnormal. You shouldn't feel stupid because you ask other people or you still Google after 10 years. I've been programming for 9 years and I still Google almost everything. And obviously this doesn't only go for programming just because I just gave that as an example. It goes literally for anything. If you're using a game engine, there's a new feature, you're probably gonna Google some type of documentation for it if you're intermediate. Or if you're a beginner and you're just learning the game engine itself as well, probably you're gonna watch some tutorials. So when you come to this point, it means you're starting to learn something, right? You've started this learning process itself, what I call it. And I want to talk about learning by yourself and being self-taught instead of actually going to school. So like I mentioned earlier, I am self-taught. So under these 12 to 13, between those ages, I started learning the game engine and I started learning programming. And even if you're doing art, this still goes for you too. So just listen closely. In high school, we had a programming class and we also had a web development class, but they were super basic. So we had those two subjects simultaneously for 2 years, right? And we literally, for 2 years, for the programming class, for example, for 2 years, we just learned variables and functions. Nothing else, literally some really basic stuff. And my important point here is the fact that they did not teach you how to think when you're programming. They did not teach you the mentality when you're actually coding, right? And they did not teach you the syntax so you could actually, apply these coding skills of yours that you're developing under these years to a different programming language, right? Because that's what you want to do. We were using Java in Eclipse, which if you have programmed before, you probably know Java isn't a very good language, to be fully honest right here. So I wanted to learn C#. I wanted to get into C++, even though I knew that it was really, complex. And my friends wanted to as well, but the difference between us was the fact that I had learned before So I did have more than the basics in my mind, and I knew a little bit of C# as well. So I was really just ahead of my game in that subject, right? Not so much in math, but just programming at least, it was pretty good. It was my strong side, let's just call it that. And now, what I'm gonna say is something that I heard from literally every single friend of mine who I've kept in touch with who go to college right now. And by saying every single one of them, I mean it literally. Not like one less or whatever, every single one of them. So they have said, usually the things we learn in college are literally the same things we learned in high school, which are basics. They're just basics. And to be honest, it makes sense. Because usually school doesn't really teach you about optimization and high level overview of all the newest technologies in the world, and so that you can code and become a part of this AI world and the AR, VR, all that kind of stuff. They don't really bother that. You know what I mean? They basically just want to teach you the basics to get you started. But they're not making you ready to a business life. They're not making you ready to create your own game studio or work for a different game studio or make your own games in the first place. However, that is not to say that you shouldn't go to school. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to talk bad about school to get you not to go to school. But it's if you want to go to college, that is totally fine. Actually, I support that. You know what I mean? I'm totally down with that. But my suggestion is when you go to college, when you go to high school, middle school, whatever, do something on your own as well. Either work on a game, either just start learning, repeat the steps you took at school that day, but go beyond it. You know what I mean? Stay one step ahead or two steps ahead of this plan the school gives you. And the reason is the things that you learn from school, and including college actually, are usually not enough for you to get a job after school. For example, my case, if I relied on what school taught me about programming, I would not be remotely close to get a job as a programmer. You know what I mean? So I would be as far away as possible because it's only the basics. And the company isn't just looking for a graduation confirmation paper, your diploma, or the fact that you went to school. They're looking for experience. They're looking for someone who can carry their project forward and who can carry their future projects forward as well. And it doesn't even matter if you're studying 3D modeling or whatever it might be, like programming. Imagine yourself being the employer. You have a project, you have a budget, you have to reach your goals in 5 years, and you either hire someone who's learned the basics through school or someone who loves doing it to a point where he or she learned this through having it as a hobby and is self-taught to a point where they can actually work because they've got the experience of 3D modeling or programming or whatever skill and talent you're looking for. And it is also true that most employers nowadays, especially like Apple, IBM, and all these, huge tech companies, they've actually stopped looking for a lot of, diplomas, basically. They don't require you to graduate anymore, usually for most of the job titles. But if you have an employer or if you have a dream job which literally requires you to have a graduation, or if you just wish to graduate in the first place, well, do it. It's totally fine. But step above the normal level and learn something further and beyond the basics that school is gonna give you. It will literally make it 10 times easier for you to find a job after graduation. Also, something I quickly want to dip into, teachers and mentors and these personal coaches, I think people call them nowadays. And also, especially these courses that you purchase for $500 online. If you purchase them, if you, rent or hire a teacher, that's fine. You're not going to be ridiculed for that. But you don't need it either. Don't feel like you're forced into it because, you think that you can't learn it by yourself. You can learn it by yourself, and just like I did, and literally millions of other people did. You know what I mean? So don't feel like you're forced into purchasing courses. You can find most tutorials, most specific things that you want to create and make for your games or whatever it might be, especially game engine videos. You can find them online, on YouTube, on Google. You can find blog posts, you can find forum threads that teach you how to use game engines, how to make games and stuff like that. So we actually only have 2 more topics to talk about, and I don't want to make this video way too long, so I'm just gonna quickly skim through these. So first and foremost, We talked about gaining experience, right? So I have a few suggestions that have helped me build my career and my portfolio so far. So I want to share this with you so that you can take inspiration. So first and foremost, if you're making a game, do devlogs, make videos of it, do Twitter posts, do blog posts, post it on Reddit. It all gives you some kind of experience in terms of marketing, but also building a fan base around your game to get more motivated and have a bigger inspiration source to actually keep working on it. And it also gives you more experience in making games. And number two, if you're searching for a job, try freelancing or try working for free for the extra experience that you can potentially gain from it. And let's say you're trying to work on a group project and you're actually wanting to find some team members. Try the previous steps first. Like, it will be easier for you to get other people to join your projects if you have the experience and knowledge to begin with. Because number one, you're gonna know what they're up to and what they had to do and kind of how long it might take them depending on, obviously depending on their skills and stuff. But it will also make it easier for you to actually find people because they'll know that they're not alone and they don't have to carry you. Instead, they can just focus on their part in the project and you can focus on your part. And so this is something that I also suggested by using devlogs, but create content on what you're doing. So using images and other media like GIFs and videos is just fantastic. Media in general has become such a strong proving ground now that you can literally use it to show off your skills and portfolio. And that's nothing that is, necessarily going to give you a lot of experience in its own, like posting some Twitter things, but it will at least help you in the development process. So it's kind of like a tip that I just wanted to share because it takes 20 seconds to do it. Working on your own projects is also really good. So what you should do is just set yourself a time limit, like let's say 2 weeks, right? And then create something simple to advanced depending on your skill set in that time span. So, and then after it, showcase it to people and upload it for others to play and give you feedback. And I know that it can be a little bit frightening and actually kind of intimidating, to be honest, to share your project with somebody else because you either don't really believe in it or you're a little afraid because what are they gonna think? What if they just butcher my project? Let them butcher it. You know what? It's totally fine. You're just starting to learn. What you should do is just publish it somewhere so that people can try it and download it, potentially for free so that, people have it easier to actually give you feedback. And then just take that feedback and really take it to heart and just say, okay, now how can I improve from this given feedback? And especially consider if they are developers themselves, the players of your game. So if they know what they're talking about, you should probably just listen to it. And then finally, just this last topic I want to cover in this video, spend time on this. Game development is the type of subject that a lot of people who play games want to join because they think, oh, I enjoy playing games, so I'll definitely enjoy making them too. And then they realize the difficulties of making games like programming, 3D modeling, art, music, all that stuff. And they lose all their interest and motivation and either quit or put it on hold for 2 years. And besides, I'm gonna be brutally honest, game development is something that takes time. In terms of, first and foremost, when you learn, it takes a lot of time. And number two, when you actually are, working on a serious project that you really wish to release and publish and do all that kind of stuff, it also takes a lot of time. It's nothing that happens overnight unless you have a very small project you're working on. It's nothing that you can learn overnight either, so give it time. Just be aware of the fact that it is gonna take time to both learn and publish your own stuff. All right, I think I'm done ranting for today. See you next time. All right, so that is pretty much it for this video, and hopefully what I shared in this video should give you an overview and a very good sight actually of how to enter the game development industry and how to find your own field within this huge tree and find your own branch to actually hang on to. And once again, obviously, if you have any questions, please do let us know in the comments. We're always very helpful. I am, and also my community that are behind me, obviously. So let us know your comments, your questions, your thoughts, opinions, whatever it might be, and we will reply. And by the way, we actually have a Discord server that is just related to game development and development in general, actually, a little bit of web dev and stuff like that. So if you want to join that, there's a link to it in the description box of this video where it basically says Discord. And in the server, we are about like 7,700 people, I think, something like that. And we're all like-minded. We are all in the game development industry, and we all do, you know, different technical stuff. Some do art, some do programming. I do programming mainly and level design, and we are all very active and also chat with each other too. So we have a bunch of fun. And like I said in the intro of this video, I'm actually going to cover more of these topics. So I'm going to make more videos where I basically just discuss and talk to you guys like I used to do before, like a year ago, 2 years ago, which was really fun. And so if you have any topics you would want me to cover and you want to see, you know, being talked about and discussed actually, which you can participate in, definitely let me know in the comments as well. And of course, if you enjoy your time watching this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up because it shows a lot of support, and it also makes it very obvious for me to realize what kind of videos you guys are interested in the most. And also hit the subscribe button below the video so you actually get notified every time we upload something new. So yeah, that is pretty much it. Hope you guys enjoy your time watching and want to see more videos. I'll look forward to see you in the comment section and in our Discord server. Make sure to join, and until next time, peace out. I would also like to give a huge shout out to Richard Stance, Cupola, and everyone else supporting us on Patreon. You guys are awesome.
Skin the color of bark, clothes smelling like trees, digging my earth from my roots and weeds, my true bleeds right back in the arm. No scar, but I left my mark. My friend got clean, then no deed, life is just that dark.